So once you've followed the first part of the tutorial, you'll have a Photoshop file like you see in the background here. And before we go into After Effects, all you want to do is go to your outline here if you made an outline like I did, and right click and rasterize that. For some reason After Effects doesn't realise if you have a shape layer with a fill in it and only an outline, it gets a bit confused and adds a fill to it anyway. So you just want to make sure that's rasterized so it doesn't recognise it as a shape layer anymore. And then you just want to save that, which I've already done anyway, so I'm just going to save, and I don't really need to but because I've already done it. And then we want to go to After Effects and just import this file into After Effects. So to do that you just go to File, Import and Import File, or you can double click down here in your project files. So if you just double click there and open up your file, so if you find where you've saved it, just open that up, and it'll bring up a few more options here like so, and you'll have options like retain layer styles, composition, retain layer styles, composition and footage, and then you'll have layer styles options down here. So we want to select composition, retaining layer styles, and editable layer styles we want to keep checked, and click OK. And that will import our files here. You'll have a folder that contains all of the layers that we just previously made, as you can see, and we'll have a composition here. So with the composition, we would just want to double click on that, and when we double click, that'll open it up here. And then we want to make sure there's the right length and the right resolution, all of that sort of stuff. So if we right click just up here or on here and go to composition settings, it will bring up the composition settings here. So we want to make sure that's 1920 by 1080, 30 frames per second, and the duration I usually set to around 20 to 30 seconds long, mainly because an outro, if it's too long, people are probably going to abandon the video anyway. So it's sort of a bit of a pointless time at the end of the video, pointless a lot like time for you to render, and generally it will make your ratings go down a little bit less in YouTube. So if you leave that a little bit shorter, and not too short obviously, if you have it 10 seconds long, people haven't got enough time to actually click on anything. So for me, I think the prime time is around 20 to 30 seconds, so I'm going to leave that on 30 seconds and then click OK. So that's not changed anything for me because my settings are already like that anyway, but for you, if your settings are any different to that, you may want to change them. And one cool thing with this, because we're importing a PSD, if we go back into our Photoshop file and edit one of these things and then save it and give it a little while to refresh in After Effects, it will refresh and make the changes that we've just made. So if I change this YN here to just a Y and we didn't want the N, and then saved it in Photoshop here, we just deleted that and saved it. I would do it, but my computer's running a little bit slow at the moment where I'm recording and doing a few other things. It'll take a little bit while to refresh, but once it refreshes, you'll end up with just the Y and not the YN, which is quite cool because you can go back and you can make a lot more changes and things like that without actually affecting anything. So at the moment, this YN here and the logo at the top here is sort of just a placeholder, as we're going to go into Cinema 4D in a little while and we're going to create that so it spins. And at the moment the boxes here are also placeholders. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to make the actual boxes and then start animating stuff. So to make the actual boxes, I usually go into Photoshop again and then go to New, 1920 by 1080, OK, and then create a fill, any colour really, it doesn't really matter, and then go to File, Save for Web, save it in the same places where you saved everything else, and save it something like video box left, and then go to File, Save again, and do it video box right. There is other ways of doing this, but this is what I feel was the easiest way really. And then I'm just going to close that because we don't really need it anymore. And then if you go back into After Effects and import that file, so I'm going to go down to video box left and video box right, holding control to import both of them at the same time. And I'm going to drag these down onto our timeline here, and I'm going to drag them just above our camera boxes that we already had. And then as you can see, these are just made blue boxes, which obviously we don't really want. So I'm just going to, for now, I'm going to click the little eye to hide one of them, and then go to the left. Actually, I want to hide the right one and go to the left one because we want to start with the left box. And then I want to go to the scale down here. So if we click the little arrows, transform, and then go to scale and change that to around 20%. So it's a lot smaller than this one, and we can see where we're going. And then if you make sure you've got the selection tool up here selected, and then click on that box, hold shift and just drag it across until it's centered up with your other video box that you previously made in Photoshop. And then once you've done that, you can just increase the size again. So for me that's probably around 35%, or roughly around there, to be the same sort of size of the box that's previously there. And then we just want to close this down like so, and then we're going to go to the cam box left, just put that above it, cam box left, click the little arrows and go to layer style. Just click the layer style, don't open it up, and then just hold Control and C on your keyboard, and then go back to the one you've just made and go to Control V to paste that. That has now changed the colour and everything like that, and added a white stroke and a drop shadow, and that's because that's now copied the layer style that we made in Photoshop onto our video box. So I now want to delete that because we don't need it anymore, and we just want to keep the image that we've just made. And then after I've done that, I just want to open this up, go to layer styles here, and I want to delete the colour or gradient if you used a gradient, and just delete that because we no longer need that on there. And then that is all sorted for that one, and all we have to do after that is just right click and go to pre-compose, and then name this as video box or something like that. So I'm going to leave that as video box left and put replace in caps, so then I know to replace it later on. And then we want to do the same thing again, the exact same process as what we've just done for the video box on the right. So I'm going to click the little eye to unhide that, click the little box down here to go to my transform tools, change it to 20% again, click on it and hold shift on the keyboard to drag it across, center it up with my previous one, create it around 35 so it's the same sort of size, go down to my cam, go to my layer styles, paste them back onto our new box, and then we want to open these up, go to our layer styles and delete color overlay, and then once again we want to right click and go to pre-compose over here, and then I'm going to change this again to a video box and then add replace in caps and OK, and that is now pre-composed those. So now if we double click on one of these here, so if we double click on that, that'll open up this composition here. So I'm just going to open up both for now. So I've got my box left here, which I'm going to drag over, so box left and box right, as you can see. And now if we import a video or a thumbnail or something like that into here, you'll actually have that sorted for you. So I'm going to import import both of these thumbnails here from my folder that's on my other screen. So I'm going to import those into After Effects, which has been a bit slow. Oh, there we go. And now that's imported, all I want to do is drag one of these down over to here, and then go back to my other box, like my other composition, and drag them into here, like so. And if you save that, so I'm going to save this, it's just Untitled. And if you go into here, you'll see that that's now replaced it and put them images in there. So if I go and delete these now, and go back, you see that they're now blue again. So that's what I find is the easiest way of doing it, and that'll work exactly the same if you import a video into here. So if you have a video and you have you can import sort of like a highlight of a video into here, and then you can have it playing here, so that way people, when it goes into the outro, they're more likely to click it and they'll be a little bit more engaged because it's actually a playing video. And obviously if you're talking in it or something funny is happening, they might be more interested in actually clicking at and going to that video. So that is how I usually do those boxes. And the next part I'm going to show you now is how I actually animate the YN and the logo at the top here. So all you want to do is go into Cinema 4D. Like I said, this isn't a big point, a big problem if you don't have Cinema 4D. If you don't have Cinema 4D, if you skip forward a little bit, a few more minutes, and we'll get into the actual animating part of After Effects. So I've actually got a Lightroom saved here, which it's called YLLiBz intro template. So I've got that here. Oh no, yeah, there we go. Actually, I've got another one here which I'll use, which is where am I going? I got a spinning logo template, video overlay. I think that's the one, which was from my previous package that I made for 1K subscribers. And as you can see, it just spins around here. So for this, I'm going to leave this a link to this in the description below. And all you have to do for here is go we want to delete the subscriber in your name unless you actually want that there, and delete that. And then go to the Y here, and we want to change this to YN. And then we want to change the color of this, so I'm going to go to the red material here, double click on that and change the color, and I'm going to change that to a Y and OK. And if we now preview this, this should be sort of a whitey grey with a little bit of reflection, stuff like that. And if we go through our timeline, it spins around like so. So that's all we really need to do with that. And then if we just go to our render settings up here, make sure you have the same sort of render settings as I do here. So we want to select all frames, go to save, and then we want to go to QuickTime or AVI movie, but I'm going to go to QuickTime. Make sure you've got alpha channels checked, like there, and then go to your files here and select where you want to save this file. So I'm going to go to storage and then go to here, and then save this as spinning logo and save, and then I'm just going to close this down and render it. So once this is finished rendering, I'm going to come back to the tutorial and show you guys the next step. So that is now finished rendering, and as you see, if we go through this, well actually, so it's just loaded through, it just spins around, and if you go back into your After Effects here, and we just import that, so we go File, Import and File, and then Find will be saved that, so I personally saved it here as spinning logo, so I'm just going to import that, and then we want straight unmatted, and then OK, and then we want to drag this. I'm just going to put this all the way at the top, above my YN here. And all we want to do is just click this little drop down thing again, like the little arrow, and change the size of it probably to around 20%, maybe even a little bit smaller. I'm going to go to 15, and then we just want to reposition this. Oh, I put caps lock on by accident, and we just want to reposition that up to the top there. And then now if I go to my my YN here, which we made earlier in Photoshop, and click the little eye icon to hide it, we'll see that we now have our spinning logo at the top here, and it spins around. Let me change the resolution so it's a bit smoother for you guys. You'll see that it spins around here, and that is basically all you have to do that. And obviously I showed you how to do that with text. All you have to do is, if you have a logo, is import your logo, put it into the edit group here, and then it'll make it so it spins around, and then just render it out like I did. If you don't have your logo in photo, like you don't have an AI version of your logo to import into Cinema 4D, please search up another tutorial, as I don't have enough time to go through that as well, as it could this will be, you know, stupidly long really. And then all we need to do with this is, because this is 30 seconds long and we only rendered 10 seconds out, we just want to duplicate that, so Control C and V, and then just go all the way to the end here, so that ends at around 10 seconds, and then just drag this across like so. So if we zoom in a bit, we'll see that it now just comes across and goes into the next one. And then all we want to do is do the exact same again over here, Control C, Control V, and then drag this across until it's like fully filled up our whole 30 seconds. And that's how you add the spinning logo. And you can do that as well for adding a little spinning logo at the top watermark of your videos, which is that template was originally made for. And then I'm just going to save this again. So the next part, all we want to do is edit all of these other bits in. So I'm going to start off by editing and animating in my videos. So I'm going to start off with the left video. I'm going to go to 0 seconds. I'm going to go to transform, and I'm going to go to scale, and I'm going to go to 2 seconds, let's say. Actually, I'm going to go to 2 seconds at first, and I'm going to create a keyframe. That's the word. I totally forgot what it's called there. Keyframe, by clicking the little stopwatch tool here. So if I click that, you'll see that it's now added a little keyframe here, and then I want to go to 0 seconds, and I want to change my scale to 0, and that will automatically create another keyframe there. And all you want to do then is go to around 120, 1 second and 20 frames, and highlight your first keyframe and copy it and paste, and then go in to around 37 like so, and then highlight all of these and right click on one of them. You can't just right click anywhere or it doesn't work. Just right click on one of them and then go to keyframe and easy ease. That way your keyframes will sort of ease in a little bit. And I do have another tutorial on my channel where I explain how to animate a few other things and what keyframes are and stuff like that. So if you do want a little bit more information on that, head over to my channel and you'll see some other tutorials where we explain more in depth what keyframing is. And then if we play through this now, you'll see that this flies in, and then because we've done the little bit there, it sort of bounces in and sort of slowly comes back down, as you can see. And then all we want to do with this is we want to highlight all of these keyframes and hold Control and C on our keyboard, and then we want to go to our other box here, so our right, go all the way to 0 again, and then we just want to paste, so Control V to paste that, and you'll see that then they now both animate in. Generally when I'm making something like this as well though, I'll probably go a little bit maybe to 15 frames, and we'll just drag this over to 15 frames. So it has a little bit of a timing between the two, so that one comes in first and then that one comes in. I don't usually have both of them going in at the same sort of time, as I think it looks a little bit weird. And sometimes I will come onto these and I'll play around with a few of the other settings as well. So if I just undo what I've just done there, so it's still at the same timing. And we can add something like a rotation. So if we have a little look at the rotation, we see that we can have it going in like this and rotating round. So if we go to something like 7 and go to 0 and create a keyframe, and then come all the way to 2 seconds and change that to 0 again. And then if we highlight both of those and once again do an easy ease, so if we highlight them and right click on the keyframe, keyframe assist, easy ease, and then we'll come in, you see that now animates in with a little bit of a rotation on that. So if we copy these again, so highlight them all and copy, and then close it up, and then go back to 0 seconds, highlight or select our other box which is over here, and paste again, we'll see that now animates in. I personally think this looks quite cool, but I'm now going to change that so that rotates the opposite way round, so it doesn't rotate the same way. So I'm going to go into my keyframes here, I'm going to open them up, go to my rotation, instead of +7 I'm going to put -7, and now if we play through this you'll see that it rotates the opposite way round, like so. Oh, I added -7 in the wrong part, so we want to put -7 here, then we want to go to just over 2 seconds and put 0, and you'll see that now animates in and rotates the opposite way round. It's quite hard to describe, but I personally think that looks a little bit better. And that is basically how you start animating all the parts. So all you want to do after that is use them same sort of animation tools I just showed you there to animate all of these other parts in. So I'm just going to do this quickly, and I'm going to go through on these little arrows. So once these videos have come in, I want my arrows probably around 120 while these are still sort of popping in, and I'm going to start off with the left one here, and I want these to then pop in, but I'm going to click the little box here, as you can see, the little 3D box, so it's in a 3D space, and then I'm going to go to transform again, and I'm going to start bringing it in. I'm going to go to around 105, maybe 1 second and 10 frames, and then I'm going to go to my rotation. I'm going to go through to see what one this is, and I personally want it, yeah, I want my Z axis, and I'm going to change that to -90, like so, and I'm going to create a keyframe, and I'm going to go to my scale, and I'm going to reduce my scale as well to 0% and create a keyframe like we did before, and I'm going to scroll in probably for about a second, so that was on 110, so we're going to go to 210, which would be 1 second, and create another keyframe at 100 scale, and then go down to our rotation and create make that 0 to create another keyframe, highlight them all again, right click, easy ease, and as you can see our videos now come in, and then as they come in these pop out, and then after that's popped out I want these to then sort of pop up a little bit every now and then. So as we go through, I'm going to go through for a few seconds, and then I'm going to create a keyframe for my position, and I'm going to go through 1 frame, so holding control on my keyboard and pressing the arrow key, go through 1 frame, and then change the position. Oh, I don't want to go that side, I want to change my position here, and I'm going to make that go up just a little bit, not too much, like so. As you can see, that then pops up, and I want to go across for a couple of seconds and then go back to my first keyframe. If I zoom in a little bit, my first keyframe here, and hold control and then C to paste that, and then if you play through this now you'll see that this pops up and then comes back down. I personally think that looks quite cool, and then all you want to do is highlight all of them and hold control and then go across a little bit for a few seconds and paste it, and that way as you go through it comes in, pops up, and then you go for a little bit more and it pops up again. And then all you want to do with all of these really is first of all I'd usually close that up, press U on my keyboard, highlight all of them and control C, and then go back to where I made my first keyframe, and then go to the right one here and then just paste, holding control and V, and you can see that it's now pasted and used the same keyframes as we previously done. The only thing that you'll notice with this is it's actually put the object back over here. So if we close these up and press highlight the right one and press U on our keyboard and then come across here to our position, so if we zoom in a little bit to our keyframes here for our position a little bit more so I can see them, and then we want to change our position and we want to bring this over and bring it back to where it previously was to start with. So it was originally here, and we want to copy that, and then come across to all of our keyframes. So we've copied that, come across to all of our keyframes here, and paste that back in. Like so. And we just want to do that across all of the keyframes that we've made, so this way our position is back in its normal place. And we're going to go across. And now if we go through this, you'll see that it's animated on, it's in the right position, and everything works fine. So once I've done that, like I said, I'd usually change the timings of these, so at the moment these all sort of pop in at the same time and do all of their stuff at the same time, which I personally wouldn't do. So I'm going to highlight our first box. So where is our box? I've got my video box left here, as you can see I've got it selected, and I want my triangle left here as well. And I'm going to highlight them, and I'm going to drag them a couple of seconds, and I'm going to highlight my other two, so box right and triangle right, and I'm going to drag these for a few keyframes forward, and you'll see that these now animate on at different timings and pop onto the screen like so. And that is basically what you're going to do with the rest of your layers here. You'll just animate them on and then change all of the timings and things like that, so they all pop on screen like so. And once you've done that, you're sorted. So anyway guys, without going too in depth, I hope this was handy and helpful, and I will leave a link in the description below for my Cinema 4D thingy here, which template which I made for my 1000 subscriber pack. So I'll leave a link in the description below for just this file alone and not the whole entire pack for you to download to create your spinning logo. So I hope this was handy, and this is something that's actually being requested quite a lot, so hopefully you guys do enjoy it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.